I would never say that I know a black man's struggle. Absolutely not. But I know that I have some life experiences that someone could say, me too.
Bed. Love.
Bed.
Bed.
Love.
Beyond.
Beyond.
Bed. Love. Beyond. Bed. Love. Beyond.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Bed Love Beyond, the podcast for the hopeful and the hater in us to discuss sex, love, and whatever's clever with like-minded people like you who are also in limbo with love.
Like us.
Thank you for listening to us on Podbean, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, and
Google Play Music.
yes, please rate, review, like, and subscribe to us on any of the devices that you listen to. So, this episode is episode 73. Interracial relationships and the black experience. Should you marry someone that may not understand your struggle?
Hashtag the struggle.
Yes, hashtag the struggle. Yes, and this is, you might have thought that we did an interracial relationship before, and we did. It was in episode 22 called It's Not So Black and White, Interracial Relationships. And that was just more of a main general talk between myself and Jennifer and other guests on the show. But this one is much more direct and specific because I was watching something and I saw something on the Breakfast Club with Dr. Umar, and he had this clip on there, and I was like, whoa, let me give this to Jennifer because this has to deal with her. And she was like, whoa, what is going on? So yeah, it was pretty crazy. So we definitely want to talk about that.
And for those who don't know, since we have listeners in like Amsterdam and like other places, the Breakfast Club is like a New York City radio show on 105.1 that they do. And they have like guests on and they just talk their ass off all morning and talk shit.
Yeah, so
that's what we do here in New York.
Right. So this clip, I mean, it was an entire interview that was 40 minutes long, but this particular clip, this 2-minute clip, got 2.1 million views, 12,000 likes. It was shared 26,000 times, and 7,000 people commented on it.
Damn.
So it was a very, very big thing.
Talked about moment.
Yeah, it was a very talked about moment. So
but don't worry, it's not just us today.
no, it's definitely not as us. Yeah, Jennifer and I, we're definitely gonna talk about it, but we have guests on here, a couple who's interracial as fuck,
Quote,
as they like to
unquote.
say. So we have Sane and Erica on the line. What's going on, guys?
What up? Yo.
They're coming in from Chicago.
Yes, Chi-Town.
Thank you guys for joining us.
That's Midwest.
Yes, definitely. What's going on, guys?
Staying dry right now.
Nice.
Pretty much it. Staying dry talking to you guys. So.
Cool. Awesome. So, yes, we're going to play this clip right here because that is pretty much the basis of this entire episode. And we're just really going to talk about it because I feel that it will be a very interesting topic that I believe every interracial couple will have, or if not, have talked about already. So
I asked my boyfriend if he wanted to be on the podcast, and he said that he's Haitian and Dominican, and he said, I don't think that we're in an interracial relationship. He's like, I don't think I'm interracially dating. He's like, I just think I'm dating. And he's like, so I really don't have anything to say. I was like, okay.
I mean,
moving on.
No, that's an interesting take because some people believe that, what is
Right.
it like the colorblind,
Right.
and that's cool. But other people are like, no, you are black and you are white, so you shall talk about this someday.
Right.
It will come up whether you like it or not.
Right.
So it's gonna be good.
All right, so I'm gonna play the clip so Erica and Sane can get in on this conversation.
Absolutely. All right, go
so
ahead.
listen up, folks.
Marriage is a political decision. Who you marry tells me who you are. When you marry a woman, you don't just marry her. You marry her culture, you marry her community, you marry her people. You understand? So when a black man marries a white woman, he's making several clear points and messages he's sending out to his own people. Because there's no greater symbol of your loyalty to your struggle than to marry a sister who shares that struggle.
You're telling me, right? If my son, my black son,
Yes.
brings home a white girl, because
How old is he?
not for nothing, he's 13.
Yes.
Not for nothing, we live in an area that is predominantly white.
Okay.
Reason why? Better school system, better education.
I got you.
A lot safer. So if he brings home a white girl, I should be like, son,
We need to have a conversation.
you shouldn't date her. You should date a black person.
You have to teach your son loyalty to his community. European Jews do it. Arabs do it, Chinese do it, we're the only people who feel anxious and ambivalent about telling our black boys that you better love and marry a black woman. And you know why we feel ambivalent? Because all of us have been conditioned by church envy to be colorblind. We're constantly told over and over again that it is wrong to be for yourself before you are for anyone else. And that's why Africans are dead last.
I don't agree.
There's nothing wrong with being loyal to yourself.
There's nothing wrong with being loyal to yourself, but
Yes,
it's
sir.
also who you love. I can't tell my son who he connects with better.
Can that white woman ever understand your son's struggle?
Fuck no.
Thank you. So why would you want him to spend the rest of his life with a woman who can never understand how he feels when the New York City Police Department pulls him over? You need a woman who can feel you. And the only woman on earth who can understand the black man is the black woman. And that's why I cannot respect a black man who is not committed to a black woman. That's the greatest symbol of pride in self.
I agree with you, but I do think people, fall in love with who they fall in love with. But
love is a function of priorities and values.
yes, and you better never get caught with a white woman.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the entire clip. So that is a lot to digest. So
I don't know what church envy is. I want to learn more about church envy.
no. And Envy is the DJ. The person, DJ Envy.
Oh. I was like, wait, there's church envy?
Yeah.
I was taking it as like you envy like what you hear in the church, like saying that I love everybody. Like me saying not to love everybody.
Oh, well,
but
well.
Sane and Erica, what the hell do y'all think?
Yes, please.
Well, it sounds like he's saying it's Jesus' fault that people ain't racist enough. Like, other people are racist, so you gotta be more racist.
Okay.
It's kind of what it seems like. I can't understand anything that he's saying because from my birth, I was never accepted in a social group. I'm interracial. My husband is interracial. And together we make even more interracial. So at this point, we all racial. We transcended interracial. We are every single culture represented in our household. And so it's really hard for me to hear things like that because all I hear is that there's a privilege of having a line to draw, and they're going to draw that line every time they can. Whereas I've never been given I've never been given my own group to draw lines with. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
it does. And for the audience, can you please tell us? I mean, I know you just said you're an amalgamation of a lot of things, but what do you consider yourself? What do both of you consider yourself as?
Oh, absolutely. So my father is a Polish, Norwegian, Danish man. So he is a European mutt who married a woman when he was stationed in Korea. So we're the MASH story. So all the people who like to make judgments about MASH shows and talk about how exploitation and things like that and poor Korean women. Yeah, like they directly insult me when they just are flipping at the mouth about those situations too. And then my husband.
My dad is half Palestinian and quarter Irish, quarter German, and he ended up marrying my mom in Chicago, who was 100% Haitian.
Okay.
So she immigrated here when she was in her early 20s to be a nursing student.
And what's funny is the only thing that's missing is the Latin experience. But both my husband and I have been mislabeled, therefore misstereotyped and misjudged as being Mexican and or Puerto Rican our whole lives.
Wow. Okay.
So I've experienced more racism about being a non-Spanish speaking Mexican than I have for being a Korean white girl.
Right.
Because that's how ignorant most racist folks who are only one ethnicity are. That's how set they are, and that's how harshly they assume.
Got you. Okay. All right. So
Yeah, no punches are going to be pulled today.
It's all right.
No, it's quite all right. We want the real, definitely, and I'm glad that we have the right people to discuss about this. Now, I want to bring up a point that Dr. Umar said, and he was talking about how
What makes him a doctor? Like, does he have a degree?
Well, here's the controversy.
I think if you have a doctorate in theology, anyone can get one of those. Like, that's not that hard to do.
The thing is, he has said on countless times that he has 6 degrees. I don't know of what, but also people cannot locate what these 6 degrees are. So that's a whole nother controversy in themselves.
Theology degrees.
Oh.
You can go to like a seminary school, you know what I mean, or like go to like a very religious college, and you know what I'm saying. You can get a master's or a doctorate in theology, which is like a general doctorate, which no real school gives. Schools do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I know a few different people that I've worked with over the years that have like they're doctors in theology, so they're good on like religion. I mean, if you can really even be good on religion, because that's impossible. But you know, but you can get doctorates in that in like different like subcategories. It's pretty funny.
Okay. So there's.
I mean, that's what I'm assuming. If you can't find what they are, that's usually what that is.
Okay.
Or unless you bought it off the back of like a comic book or
Damn.
cereal box or something.
All that college for nothing. I could have just went to a comic book.
So he says something where he's like, you know, you have to teach your son loyalty to his community. European Jews do it, Arabs do it, Chinese do it, East Indian people do it. And okay, so I live in a predominantly Orthodox Jewish town. Okay, so every Saturday they come out, and because they can't, you know, use the car or whatever, and they're just walking, parading the town, and I'm just like, wow, this is a strong knit community, like strong knit, and.
Right, but I did agree with one thing he said to a degree, and I don't mean to cut you off, but there are a lot of Orthodox Jews in your community, but there are also a lot of Haitians in your community, right?
Yeah.
Right, so it's pretty much split, Orthodox Jews and Haitians, and then sprinkled in with everybody else. But there are certain cultures like Orthodox Jews that really don't ever go out of their community.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's going to be like a Brooklyn Babylon thing. That's such a great movie, by the way.
Yeah, I love that movie.
See?
Go ahead, Black
So it's going to be like if an Orthodox Jew falls in love with a Haitian in your community. But you're like, did you ever see that happen like in your whole entire
that's
life of Muncie living?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like my town is just strictly like Orthodox Jews, and they're just really tight knit, and I can see where people, just like Erica, you know, you said that it seems very racist what he's talking about, and I totally see what you mean. But when I see like the Orthodox Jews just, you know, chilling on the street, whatever, I feel that that they are just a close knit not family, community, and they want to keep their roots strong. And I don't think, because I'm not gonna lie, I see some of the Orthodox like women, and I'm like, yo, she alright. You know, but I know that it can never be, you know, and I'm not saying that it'll be like a Romeo and Juliet type thing.
You've never seen Brooklyn Babylon.
I know that I can't get with them, but I don't take it as like I can't get with them because I'm black. It's just because I'm not Jewish. I see it the other way around.
Right. Like, I can see the difference, because what we're talking about when we're saying in that sense culturally and the tight knit of it is we're talking about complicated rituals that are extremely different than our own rituals.
Right.
So when you have groups that are tight knit, like Orthodox Jews, like certain Asian communities, it's when their rituals are so off kilter to the rest of everyone else. You know what I mean? It's like you seek solace in one another because, oh, that weird fermented cabbage you're eating smells funny, so don't eat in this room with us, right? Or what kind of outfit are you wearing? We don't like that over here, so you got to find a place to do that. Like, so, you know, when they come together, it's you know, if you look at a ritual or a situation, you go, man, that's so weird, I have no idea what they're doing, you're not inclined to feel like you should join and go all in. But my problem is in American culture, and especially my generation and younger, so if you Gen X or less, you chances are do not have intensely specialized rituals that are extremely different to the person next door to you. By this time, you're so indoctrinated in American culture that whether you're black, white, or Asian, after school, you eating some nasty processed food, you watching some crazy cable show that's gonna rot your brain, you're gonna argue with your parents, and you know what I mean. And the same rituals are similar in every household, regardless of ethnicity. And so when your household matches the same person, but the color of your skin is different, how can you sit there and use such intricate rituals as an argument in your favor?
I hear that. I guess like part of like what he was saying too is like the struggle. So like, I mean, I don't know what the climate is in Chicago. I mean, I do see just from the news that people are kind of getting shot all the time. But like you guys are not like you guys, but the community or whatever are shooting each other, as like opposed to like well, a lot of times you'll hear over here that the cops are shooting, you know, black men mostly, you know. And I guess like what he's saying is that like as a white person or as somebody who's not African American, you're not going to understand the struggle that black man gets, I guess, when he leaves the house, you know, and what like things he's going to face. And I don't think that I don't understand it. I think personally like that I do get it, but at the same time, like, even though it's not a fear of mine, or, like, if it was my brother, I know it's not a fear for my brother. Like, I understand that my boyfriend is black, and that if he were to get pulled over, you know, the protocol that he has to follow is going to be way different than my brother who's like, oh, hold on, let me search through my glove box, you know, and the cop will be like, okay, I'll wait, you know. I know that that's different. I just, like, I knew as a kid, like, and I had to be told, but I knew as a kid that, not a kid, but, like, a teenager dating someone who was of a different culture. Like, I remember my boyfriend said to me, he's like, don't argue with me out in the street. He's like, the cops are going to come and arrest me because they're going to think I'm going to hit you. I was like, why the fuck would they think you're going to hit me? I'm going to hit you. Like, what? You're not going to hit me. I'm going to beat the shit out of you if you keep talking shit. And he's like, no, I'm black, you're white, and if the cops come, they're arresting me. And that's something that I had to be, like, mindful of when I was younger, because maybe I didn't get it, but it doesn't mean that, like, it's not something that you can have a conversation about and not learn. So I don't know if you guys experienced anything like that, you know?
With time. But I mean, that's part of the thing is just this, is like, based on the history of our country, right, that one of the biggest pieces, you know, parts of the history of turmoil, besides, like, gaining independence from England, was the Civil War, right? Because there's like lots and lots of turmoil between people who were colored and people who weren't colored, right?
Right.
And through constant generations of having to go through the bullshit that happened with that, you know what I mean? That helped even entrench more into people that there's this like gigantic divide. Like, you know, we're in our lane, they're in their lane, we don't fuck with that lane, they don't fuck with our lane, we're gonna keep it the same. Because it's mostly out of fear on both sides.
Right.
You know, like then it was like, is Master gonna hang me from this tree today? Or are these niggas gonna revolt and, you know, and string us? You know what I mean? Like that was always a battle, and especially then, you know, as time went on, you know, with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and, you know, Black Panthers, all those different, you know, color guard, all those different movements that happened at least in the West, like that helped entrench that fear even more. Because what happens when you don't understand something? You know, you start to fear. You know, you have an opinion about it, which therefore means you're either scared of it or you're just a very ignorant person. Now, I can kind of understand where this guy is coming from by saying, like, you know, you need to be with another person of the same race as you so they understand the struggle, in the sense of like for commonality, because it's easy to do. Like, you know, my wife is from a whole different background than me, but we have a lot of the same struggles that we've had to deal with as we grew up. We had a lot of the same turmoil and issues, you know what I mean? Like, she went through things that if people met us, they thought I would go through because they're typecast me because I'm, you know, a color person. But then I've gone through instances that they would typecast her to have gone through because they see her as either Mexican or like half white, you know? So, you know, the fact of the matter is, like, anybody can experience similar experiences that a mask does if you let people show it. But then you're just stuck in ignorance and fear. So I guess to go about that for me is it's like I feel that people that pigeonhole themselves that much are either A, just extremely ignorant, or they're just sedity as fuck. And if they're sedity as fuck, I mean, that's cool. Go on, righteous person when really you're probably not that righteous at all. But you go righteous person, then, you do you, but I'm going to be true to who I am,
True. Now, did you guys ever have, like, in Chicago, like, I don't know how common interracial dating is in Chicago. I mean, I know, like, you guys are pretty progressive over there. Probably as progressive as we are in New York. But, have you guys ever, like, experienced anything where, like, somebody of your, even though you're mixed, people identify you to, like, one race or culture? Has anybody ever come up to you and be like, yo, why don't you date a black girl? Or why don't you date a white dude? Or, try to, like, question your, why you date people outside of your race?
What's so funny is, in my experience, and I can't speak for everyone in Chicago because, depending on what side of the city you live in and what time you live there, you have a very different experience with Chicago, right? And what my husband was kind of referring to earlier was that, where he grew up and where I grew up were different socioeconomic status, right? So even though someone could look at me and go, she's white, I grew up in the hood. And it wasn't this white girl lives in a hood that is predominantly black. It was a hood of white, Asian, and Latino people. And so the police profiled a little differently. They weren't looking for black people. They were looking for Latino or Latino-looking people who were young because it was drug wars,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's funny because the people I surround myself with, because, we're real cliche, right? When you don't have an ethnic group to identify, you have to find a sub social group, right? You need some sort of social group that is different because everyone needs a group. And when you don't have ethnicity, you got to find it somewhere else. And I found it in hip-hop. My husband found it in hip-hop. And together, we found each other, right? And so in the hip-hop community and being a part of the hip-hop community at, like, 10 years old, that, I think, saved me a lot from that harshness. Because when I felt embraced by, like, the hip-hop community, it was like, okay, we know you're other. You check a different box or your box doesn't exist. And for that, we understand you have some sort of empathy and kind of identification, right? I would never say that I know a black man's struggle. Absolutely not. Because what we're talking about is generations and generations of a very violent and tragic, like, history that is passed on and reiterated and shoved down your throat constantly, right? And so I would never, ever dare to say that I understand 100%, but I know that I have some life experiences that someone could say, me too. You know what I mean?
Right.
And for that, it's what I've had blessings where people kind of judge you by your character and how you present yourself. Plus, I'm 5'10" and I'm not little, so people watch what they say towards me anyway. But I also learned that I'm really gullible. I also learned that my husband helped see me. And what's funny is we have an interracial couple that are friends of ours. The wife is white, the husband is black, but he's like mixed. So like he looks like Egyptian. People think he's like weird French Creole type stuff, right? And that couple experiences it straight blatant, like disrespected in your face, like, who do you think you guys are type stuff. And I've been so blind to the world that if people try to look at me, I don't think I interpret it like that because I don't really have faith that people know what they're looking at when they see us to begin with.
Right. Do you guys still get looks when you walk down the street or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, like, we just, copped the crib in a predominantly Polish neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
it's great to tell as a homeowner.
So, like, the first day we were here, we met, we introduced ourselves to the neighbors, and, like, one of the neighbors, like, only spoke Polish whenever she saw us. So, like, the people because we know she was talking shit about us. Like she would like see us and like run to the house.
And now their house is for sale, and we swear it's because of us.
Yeah, but you know, like so that's something we dealt with just moving into an area like even in our hip hop community here, like which is you know kind of similar to New York, is just a little different, but or Jersey is just a little different, but like it's very close knit. But people have very strong opinions about like who's with whom, who's doing what and whatnot. So like when we first got together, like it was like it felt like cats were like trolling and plotting to try to like f it all up. You know what I mean? Like there was, I guess, some female and that was African American. She thought because she was black that she'd be able to pull me, but that was not going to happen. And then there was also like, but there was also like you know other you know guys that would look at Erica all the time. I catch and I'd laugh. You know what I mean? Just because I know that they're really thirsty and they may have whatever opinions, which a lot of them did, but none of that is going to mean anything because the relationship that we were able to form and continue to have with each other is one of trust and understanding and loyalty that issue will never happen, ever in life. And, you know, and it kind of, you know, that stuff will kind of, you know, make people hate, but you know, like from my personal experience, like I've dealt with that a lot. Like I've never dated an African American, even though people identify me as an African American. I've dated like a ton of other cultures. And when those things happen, I always got dirty looks, always got talked about. But I would most of the time just laugh about it because I just found it funny that that's just a blatant sign of ignorance for people to say what they say.
Because what it's about is how you interpret that person's behavior, right? When Dr. Umar talks about empathy, right, he all of a sudden sounds angry, like, how dare you try to empathize with my people and whatnot. But as if he's proclaiming to be some sort of clinician, the problem is empathy should always breed sensitivity. Empathy should breed compassion. Empathy should breed understanding, right? Mm-hmm. So I worked for 10 years with kids in juvenile detention, with kids in residential treatment centers, with like high-end mental health diagnoses. So I know empathy, right?
Right.
And in all that training and being in that kind of crisis situation, you have to look at people's off-the-wall reactions and people's anger, people's assumptions like that as their trauma. When these Polish people look at me and my husband crazy, oh, what is going on in your life that makes you this fearful? And I feel so sorry for you because your opinions are your problem. Because I'm walking tall and happy with mine, and right. I'm living in a house that costs as much as yours, and I make more money than you do. So you should be upset, but be upset with yourself.
Now,
they don't play in the Shy.
Now, Sane said that he has never dated somebody of his own race. Have you, Erica, dated somebody of your own race, or?
I've never dated a white man, and I've never ever even had an Asian man look twice at me. It's just, I even if I wanted to date within my own race, I think I'd be horribly single because, I mean, what do they want with a Mexican, right? Because so I don't really.
Oh man, so
yeah, I was just saying, like for me, like I'm not, because you know when people say like, oh, I've never dated someone from the race, they say like, oh, you don't like your race, or oh, you don't appreciate or understand what it is. Like for me, that wasn't it. Like, you know, as you know, growing up, I grew up around predominantly white people. You know,
yeah.
And it was because of the fact that my mom, being Haitian, felt like in her culture is like school's number one. Like that's it. Like if you can get into the best school, so what? If you don't have people to relate to, so what? If you like it, so what? If like you know you get anything, it's more so of you can say you went to this place and you got a degree or a certificate or whatever from this place that will help you advance you further. Because you know my mom would always say like you know regardless of who you're around, like you're still not them. You know, like you're still gonna have to work twice as hard. You gotta prove yourself every day. You still gotta put up with a bunch of BS.
Right.
But I'm still gonna pretty much force me to go to these places to get my education because wanted me to be on a track where I wouldn't have to deal with the struggles that she had to deal with when she first came here, or to deal with the issues that that she saw happen around me. So, like, as I grew up and even had lots of friends of different cultures, like, I just never was like either attracted to most girls of my that of the race that people identify me as,
Yeah.
or those that I was, like, it never happened. I was a very equal opportunity relationship finder when I wanted to try to find a relationship.
Right.
I didn't care. It's like, as long as I like the person, like, that's all that really has to matter. So it doesn't matter about a race, you know what I mean, or creed or whatever you want to call it.
Now, do either of you know if, like, your parents had any, like, oppositions when they were dating and getting married?
Oh, absolutely. The reason why I feel like people outside, strangers, can't hurt me is simply because the first people to hurt me were, like, my family, my grandparents, my aunts and my uncles, like, my cousins. Like, I have memories of being 5 told, no, let's not brag about your straight A's because your cousin needs some sort of attention for her D's. Like, the very first experience I had with a Facebook and my family members was they posted a picture of me and my 3 cousins when we were like 6, and they were commenting like, I wonder which one's different here, which one, one of these is doing their own thing.
Right.
And like, ha, 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 funny, ha, ha. And it's because when I was 6, I looked Korean. You know what I'm saying? So, like, my whole family, like, my mother wasn't allowed to take a picture of me as a baby in traditional Korean clothes. And that was all my Korean grandfather asked for after giving my family, like, $5,000. You know what I mean? For, like, a dowry. I mean, it was so blatantly racist that, like, I have issues with white people. And I am half white.
Right.
Like, and so this is why it's so hard for me to understand comments like what that doctor says, is because, like, I have very specific struggles that I think minorities haven't even experienced. You know what I mean? There are some individuals there are some who absolutely experience racism, but there are some who based on where you live and who you're around and who's protecting you, you don't experience none of that, right? And we can't say that when you're this ethnicity or this color, you absolutely for certain experience X, Y, Z. And so, like, I know my parents went through all that racism because my mother told me that the best thing that you could do in America is be white. So don't learn Korean. Don't talk about being Korean. She wouldn't even go to public events because she thought that people would hurt me if I wasn't white.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's that. And tell me right now, how many Latino, Black individuals, other Asians? I wonder how many people can sit there and go, "Yeah, my parents had that exact same fear." Like, that's the thought, right? That's the everyday struggle. And when we talk about racism, interracial relations, and all that, that's what we're talking about. The unfairness of not white, right? And that's what it always is. And so, I think that kind of paints
that covers that.
Yes, you answered the question.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, it was different. Like, my parents met on an L stop, like the elevated train here, at the L stop, and decided to date each other, whatever. And the thing is, like, my mom's from Haiti, so she grew up. She was lucky that her family was very well off, and were important family where they were at. So she did things like, had what most people call the white experience. Like, you go to boarding school, you have maids and butlers, they hire, like, you fall asleep to someone playing with your hair, we're going to hire this kid off the street and pay them whatever. And all that kid's job is to do is to play with your hair until you fall asleep.
Wait, that's a job? Because I need to, like...
Right. So, I mean, like, that's the experience my mom had growing up.
Right.
As a Haitian, you know what I mean? Which is unheard of. You know what I mean? Like, when you hear Haiti, you think refugees on, like, makeshift rafts floating across the ocean to try to get to America, or like violent whatever. I mean, there's a ton of different sides.
Do you
So
speak?
that's what my
Do you
mom
speak
said,
Creole,
like,
Sane?
no, I do not. I understand some of it because I got
Okay.
cursed out a lot as a kid.
That's okay.
So,
Martini doesn't either. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I lost it. I lost it when I was little.
Myself that bad. But then, like, for my dad grew up in the hood. He grew up in the project.
Well, okay, you ain't from Chicago, so you won't know what I'm like. He's from the well. He's from the low end.
Yeah, he's from the projects. Like, he grew up in the projects. Like, his dad was, Palestinian, came from Palestine, fought in World War II, like, made a life in America, who ended up dying when my dad was, 2, 3 years old.
Wow.
So, and then his mom was a half Irish, half German woman, whose parents were from those countries and they met in America. And, he had, 5 other brothers and sisters living in like a 2-bedroom apartment in the fucking projects. So, like, he had his brothers and sisters kind of helped raise him to a point, and then the streets helped raise him. And, lucky, for my dad that, he was really, he was smart and used his brain and realized, like, school is a better option than the streets are.
Yeah.
So, he went to school and ended up...
Made him good enough for mom.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, he did this thing, and then I met, and then, they used to tell me crazy stories where my dad almost had to fight people because of, like, them talking shit about him being with a black woman. And there's been times where, my mom would hear craziness come from other people because of the fact that she's, like, a black woman that is with a white guy. Well, technically, I guess, a white guy.
Yeah.
So, like, since I was born, I was always taught, like, to not... I mean, colors can be evident, and color is relatable to a lot of things, but don't use color when it comes to who you hang out with, or who you choose to love, or who you choose to be with. You need to choose, like, their background, where they're from, like, their mental status, like, do they... Like, I'll never forget this. I was, like, 5 or 6 years old, and, like, my dad told me I couldn't hang with this one kid, and I, of course, threw a hissy fit or whatever. But he told me, he's like, you never hang out with people or surround yourself around people that don't give anything back to you. If you're always constantly giving, but you're not getting anything from these people you're giving to, you're around the wrong fucking people. You need to find some new people. Because, like, what's the point? Like, everything is supposed to be a give and take. Everything's supposed to be equal. So, reciprocal. So if you're not receiving things from these same people you hang around, what the fuck are you hang around them for? That means, like, you're at the top of that. Do you really want to always be the top of one thing? Or do you want to expand your brand and become the top of many things?
Right.
So, like, and plus, like, growing up, like, always being, I'm, of course, too black to be white, but I was not black enough to be black. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
Yeah.
I was a floater. I didn't have a social group until I got to high school. After I got kicked out of the high school. Like, like, I was always, like, the amount of African American or ethnic people was like 15% of the school population. You know what I mean? And I didn't get excited by them and hear all these other, white kids that are either like hella privileged and rich or, are from the hood but are smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I didn't get accepted by them either. So, it was difficult until I got to high school and I found, like, my first public high school, I see there's a lobby full of kids that seem like outcasts, but they're actually cool people. I'm like, all right, I guess this is my group for now. Finally have one. Let's see how this goes. So I even had to learn how to function in a group hella later than most people did, had an opportunity to, because I never had one to grow up with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, then being with a bunch of social outcasts, you got to mix every single culture in the group. Like, all right,
Yep.
then, and, going, back then was like the rave culture here was really big, and it was like house music all the time, and, whatever the hell else you do during those times when you're young and stupid. And, I was able to learn a lot from, all these different people that technically weren't from my stock that I should really be fucking with. But frankly, like, anytime I got around people that supposedly I'm supposed to be claimed by, like, either they didn't fuck with me or I was too weird for them. Like, man, you speak proper. Like, wow, like, wait, you live where? You've been here? Oh, you're a North Sider? That's crazy. You're from, wow, like, you went here? How'd you do that? You know what I mean? It's like always answering the question as opposed to letting me get to know you.
Yeah, and being accepted. Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, I kind of had a similar upbringing myself, where I kind of just like didn't fit in, and also it was my neighborhood when I was like, wait, let's say from like 12, from like 12 to like 17, I like lived in this neighborhood. I used to call it like the United Nations, because like we had an Indian, I was the Haitian, we had a white person.
I was the Haitian.
I was, and it was awesome, because like we didn't look at each other as like color. We were just chilling, you know. It was just people, you know, just like, all right, let's hang out and whatever. And I didn't know about any like racial social structure until I got to junior high, when I got to like 9th grade, and then you saw it. Everyone was like, all right, there's the black people, there's white people, and all that stuff. So you know who you repping? You know, it's just like, oh my god. So
You're like, do I have to choose?
Yeah, do I have to choose? And with what Erica had said earlier before, where you know you could be of that color, but you might not experience that struggle, and like that was me, because I was just like, I never really was harassed for my like either my ethnicity or like my race. I was just coasting along. I only really got it was only like twice that I was really called out on, like, you know, being black, and it was nothing, because like I was talking to a friend of mine. This was really early. I was probably like 18, 19, and I was talking to my friend. I was like, yo, your friend's pretty hot, and I was like, can you like
hook it up?
Yeah, can you like hook it up? And then my friend was like, yo, I talked to her, and she doesn't, like, she's not into guys like you. And I was like, what? Because I'm tall, right? Damn, I'm tall. And she's like, no, because it's like, you're black. And I was like, what? Really? I was like, that's it? It was like so weird, because other people would be like, oh, I can't believe it. Oh. But I was like, oh, that's odd. Okay. Fine. You know, so it was just weird. So, but the thing that I wanted to bring up is because with that upbringing, I don't know if, let's say, if I did go out with somebody of my race or even of my culture, would I even relate to them or like be compatible with them? Just
right, based on that.
Yeah, just based on that. Just based on, I think we would be able to relate just because of default. Because of course, you know, the upbringing that we would have. Because you were talking about like your Haitian mom and what she wanted you to do, and the principles that she wanted to instill in you. And I'm like, yep, that's my mom too. You know, like, you can only be an engineer, lawyer, or what was the third one? Yeah, a doctor. See, there you go. See, exactly. So I totally get it. So I was like, So, but other than just the default principles, is there anything more? And to me, I don't know. I don't think there would, because I know I regularly gravitate to, I mean, I guess like everybody else, like white girls. I almost married a Costa Rican, you know, so I just relate to people who I relate with or and gravitate to. So I don't even know if I would even, you know, be cool with like a black chick or whatever. Like, all right, what do we talk about?
See, like, Sane and Erica kind of like fell in love over hip hop, you know?
Right,
and
yeah.
like you're kind of like into like the whole, I don't want to call it nerd culture, but is that what it's called?
That's what it is.
Okay, so you're like into the whole like nerd culture.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know really where I fit in life anymore. I just like everything, a little bit of everything. But like, I don't think I could date like an Italian guy, because like we would sit there and talk about like the traditions on Christmas Eve, but then like that's as far as it would go.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd be like, oh, did you like hear the new Jay-Z album? And he'd be like, who's that? I'd be like, all right, gotta go, bitch, bye. Like, I don't know. Or I'd be like, you know, did you check out this movie? And I'd be like, I'm not really into those things. I'd be like, all right, we ain't got shit to talk about, peace. But like, I mean,
because it's about like what people want to share, you know, and it's like, but what I notice is that, you know, when people are of like one ethnic group, or or it's real clear cuts for them, they're more willing to share because they feel comfortable, right? It's the good purpose for stereotypes, right? Like, I look at you, you look similar to me, so I feel comfortable, I'm going to share more, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really about like how were you taught and conditioned to share? And, you know, when we hear comments like Dr. Umari's, where he's making it very racial, it clearly that's how you learn what's okay to share and what's not okay to share. Versus our experience where race isn't reliable and race is painful. You know, you have to look for other cues to want to share.
Mm-hmm.
Whether
Right.
that, and so in 1995, it was like, holy shit, my pants are 8 sizes too big for me. Your pants are 8 sizes too big for me. I got all my wild style graph on my backpack. You got paint on your hands. Yo, you right? What you write?
Yeah.
Right? And here we go sharing, right?
Right.
But but that was because my visual cues weren't like, what's your hair texture? What's your melanin content? It was like.
Imagine if that was a pickup line. Jesus
How hip
Christ.
hop are you?
That's better than what's your melanin content. That's insane.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I kind of see like what DJ Envy was talking about. He was just like, you know, DJ Envy lives in Bergen County, I believe. He lives in a nice neighborhood, so most likely his children are going to be more exposed to like other cultures. Like I dated a guy who was from Orange, New Jersey, where Naughty by Nature came from, just for a reference for everybody. A hip-hop reference for our Chicago friends. So he was from Orange, New Jersey, and he said that no one in his community that he knew ever dated a white girl. So he's like, no one that I know ever dated anybody white. He's like, and you're the first white girl I dated. And he called me Snowflake, and I fucking hated him for it. But like... Erica laughs. He's like, and he would tell his friends, he's like, yeah, I'm out with Snowflake right now. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And like, I'm just like, imagine if I threw around derogatory words like that. Shit. So like, I mean, and like, it was kind of like fascinating for him. Like, I remember like we were like sitting on the couch, and he was just like, your hair is so nice. I'm like, thanks. Like, I don't know what the fuck to say, you know, but it was like a different thing for him. And like, I didn't ever feel like I didn't understand his struggle. I feel like I didn't understand like some of his like mental anguish about like just other things in life, you know, not being black, but being like, his dad had like passed at the time we were dating, and you know, he was like going through drama with his like baby's mom and stuff like that. But like, you know, I didn't understand all of that, but I don't know that it had anything to do with race. You know, so I don't know. I mean, go ahead.
If you think about it that way, it's like technically no one understands anyone's struggle.
Oh, you guys met him? Never mind. I'm like sitting here thinking, I'm like, did Satan meet him? Yeah, you guys met him. The guy who I brought to the bar that one night that we all went out. The last time you guys were here. That's who I'm talking about.
But I mean, like in all reality, like even if you're of the same race.
Mm-hmm.
And even of like the same race and gender, you never are really going to understand anyone else's struggle, regardless of how much you relate. You know what I mean? Because like one person's struggle is not the same as another's. Like there's pretty much like whenever anyone seems to be talking about the struggle, it's about experiences that a lot of people have that happen due to how people think of things. Right? It's all about experience. So, like, what makes like what I've been so fortunate about being able to be cool with another culture and wanting to learn my wife's cultures and stuff is like you find out so much great shit. Like Korean food's delicious. It's great, it's healthy, good, and like man, birthday parties are like all fucking great. Like especially like to celebrate like your elders. Like that shit's fucking amazing. And like the clothing and the history and the things you get to learn about other people, like you're finding that there's more connections. Like I found I have more connections with Korean people than I initially thought.
Right.
Just based off of like what their history was and certain things they've gone through. At least for Korean history. And I was like, wow, I can't even believe I can relate like that.
That's because you also find out how similar all cultures are, just like how similar religions are. I mean, his mom and my mom are still old world folks. It don't matter what old world they came from, whether it's South Korea or Haiti. You still old school. You still have the exact same rules. You still have the exact same mentality of the world. You still have the exact same fears and the exact same like approach. You know what I mean? Like his mama was doing the exact same punishments and stuff that my mom was doing. And it wasn't because they were from the same country. It was because both countries understood what you had to do to compete in a white world.
And I guess like really none of us can speak on it, but I don't know if what Dr. Umar was speaking about was like the African American experience. You know, I mean, we were gonna have somebody on, but she couldn't make it. Who would have maybe like been able to like add some input on that? Like, but like,
I'm going with the African American experience.
what happened? I'm sorry.
It's the, the standard go-to that a lot of people go to. I understand where people, I can have an understand where people come from, thinking however they think about for anything. Really, if you're open enough to try to understand a mental mindset, you might think it's just dumb as fuck, but you can at least like, okay, I can kind of see where you're coming from. But when it's something that's a prevalent thing, and I feel like it becomes more than just the cause. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's those people who are there for the cause, that support the cause and do so, but don't necessarily brag about it or, do whatever. Then you also have your people who are your leaders that have to speak on it. But then I think half of these leaders aren't really even leaders in the first place, but they're more people that like to stir the pot and cause, turmoil and drama and, just dumb shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not, dumb shit is not as in what they're talking about, but more so of dumb shit of, you really want to come at this one extreme to just get the reaction that you're getting. To help your cred or your boost or your whatever. And unfortunately there's also people out there that actually think in extremes like that, which, if that's what they do, that's how they're raised to do it or whatever. But, again, it's like, the pigeonhole yourself in the one little hole and not try to expand out and try to see what the fuck else is out there is, you're causing more of a detriment to your kids, not letting them understand other people's plights and struggles as well, than just to try to, to hammer home, this is the one that matters. No, motherfucker, all of them matter. All of them were bogus as fuck. African Americans, you went through some shit. Yeah, we went through a lot of shit. But then there's also, the Jews went through a lot of shit a really long time ago. Pretty much the same type of shit.
Right.
Right.
We're going to whip y'all and you're going to make you build shit and grow shit and do whatever the fuck we say. Otherwise, you die. Well, the same exact shit is just in a different time period with a different viewpoint of it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with, shit just saying, Germans in America during World War II, they went through a whole bunch of shit too, very similar to, other people, but because it was in a certain time period where that was the thing, then that's what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you start thinking it that way, damn near everyone went through the same bullshit and had to deal with the same plight for different spans of time. Yes, some were a lot longer than others, and some lasted longer than others due to, again, the length of, what everything happened. But if you really think about it, everyone's fucked.
But it really depends on who you're fighting with, right? Because if the fight is against white folks, then we all band together as minorities in general. Then it's all of us. Even if you got a splash of non-white, you with it, right? Someone in the fight.
Right.
But if that fight is done, or if it's peacetime with that, then comes pettier fights, right? Now the white folks are like, oh, he's Italian, no, she's Irish, you don't do that, right? And then you see it in the black community too. I have friends who are of African descent or from Haiti, and then I have friends who are African American, right? And they have the American slave experience in their ancestry. And then they'll argue with each other don't lump me in with you. My people won. We got our country. Don't come over here thinking I'm a victim of your experience, things like that. So people draw lines how they want to. My mother would never say, yeah, us and Japanese folks were ageist. My mom would never honor a Japanese person.
Right.
Korean, Japanese, racial tensions are like black and white racial tensions, and they have very, very similar histories as to why that hatred is like that, and so I grew up in a household where my mama was making fun of Japanese people, so it's not even like interracial people are like above and beyond, like not racist. This is different races, right? It's like the lines are different, but the lines still get drawn somehow.
Right. Well,
did you have,
go ahead.
You were speaking about the April, about trying to come on or something?
Oh, no, I was going to have April come on because April was here last time for the last interracial conversation. April's of African-American descent, and so is her boyfriend. Oh, no, her boyfriend's Haitian. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on, like, where you come from, because even amongst, like, Caribbean people, like, I have a friend who's Guyanese, and she's like, oh, like, I don't like Jamaican girls. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, we went through that on our honeymoon, right? So we went to St. Lucia, right?
Uh-huh.
Tourist spot, whatever, right? And, you know, people would talk with us because we're different. Like, my wife has tattoos. Showing, here I am, just baggy clothes, looking like 3 different nationalities at once. So like, people be asking, like, oh, what are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm Haitian. And they're like, oh, like, everything changed. Like, man, you motherfuckers are crazy. We don't fuck with y'all. I'm like, really? Like, is that, like, what are you talking about, you know? Like,
But I think it's funny that he brought up St. Lucia because, like, that was really my first, like, oh, snap, people, racist as hell experience, right? Because, you know, St. Lucia, like, there are, like, barely any white folks, and if they are, they're British oppressors who, like, have big mansions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in St. Lucia, it was so funny because we would be by the dock, and people would be staring at us and staring at us. So I instantly got offended, like, they're staring at us because I'm with you and I'm white, right? They think I'm white, and it was so funny because the cab driver who ended up being, like, our basic, like, brand new best friend who took us everywhere, he was like, no, they're not looking at you white. They're looking at you because you got some tattoos, so they think like you're dangerous, like you're hood. And so they're like fascinated with you. And I was like, shut up. And then, sure enough, like everybody started asking me if I wanted weed or drugs. And like, you know, like all of a sudden I was instantly like black market access, and it was like my cat. And it was so funny because I was so prepared to be like, people are gonna be racist to us, and it wasn't even that. It was like a whole nother thing.
Yeah, you're trying to like defend yourself. You're like, all right, I'm ready, and then you're like, wait, what? Wait, huh? Hold on.
yeah, you know, but I mean, like, yeah, but that was like the first time I'd ever dealt with racism, like being seen different because of like being Haitian specifically.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like in Chicago, there's a big Haitian community, and like they're just like, oh, Haitians, Jamaicans, whatever. But they kind of, it's like they blend in, so they kind of like, you know, they mix with a lot of other people. Not like, you know, New York or like Florida. So to have to even just feel that, even though it wasn't bad, like it was just more so like them telling us these, you know, crazy, oh man, there's these Haitians this one time, or there's this, you know what I'm saying? And like it was just really interesting. You know what I mean? It was like kind of similar to like the first time Eric and I went to New York, and she got to meet my uncle, right? So my uncle lives in New York. He is in Jamaica, Queens, but like in the Haitian part of Jamaica, Queens, right, where all the Haitians live. And she, you know, we went riding around with my uncle. My uncle, I guess, knows a lot of people and does a lot. I don't know. He seems real gangster.
He's a man of the community.
So,
Alright, I've been to Jamaica, Queens.
You know, we were driving around, you know what I mean, with him, and here he is, like, yelling at people off the car, people yelling at him. He's, like, stopping in the middle of the street to have conversations with people.
Haitian cigarettes.
Or, like, whatever the heck is going on. And, like, to me, that was crazy, too, because it's like, here I am with a family member in, I guess, my community, so to speak, and I didn't relate with any of this shit. I was like, this just seems like some really hood stuff that I've done in Chicago, but with family members. And
Right.
it's okay, because, like, he's an older family member. Everyone, like, respect the gangster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the backseat, I was so deep. Like, I was so much more happy than sane, right? Talk about, like, weird interpretations. But then again, I'm the hood half of the family.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, that was another experience, too, where I didn't fit, you know, like, I didn't feel like I fit in, but it was more so because I just didn't understand it. I'm not used to it. It's not something that I've had to deal with before. You know?
Right.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just kind of like a tangled web. I mean, and I mean, I respect what Dr. Umar said, but at the same time, like, I kind of felt like the same way Erica felt, like what she said originally, like almost offended. Like, okay, so you're telling me that I may not understand my boyfriend's struggle, But at the same time, like, that doesn't mean that I'm not an adult and we can't communicate about it. Like, if there's something going on, I could talk to him and he could say, you know, growing up, this is it. Or if I leave the house, like, you know, I'm afraid that if I get pulled over, I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But my boyfriend drives like a fucking white boy 4x4 truck and, like, you know, or, you know, his little Ford car. And, like, I mean, luckily, he's been not, like, profiled or anything like that where it's been a bad situation. But, like, I'm well aware of the fact that it could happen, you know, based on the color of his skin. You know?
Right.
But, I mean, that doesn't mean that, like, I'm not capable of loving him. Like, that's the part I don't get. Or I'm not capable of taking care of him if he gets sick. You know?
Or having his child and being able to do that and raise that child healthy.
Right.
And knowledgeable and prepared to face the world. But, like, I think my biggest problem with the kind of things, the stuff that he spews is that what you're doing is you're creating struggles and you're creating
a divide,
like problems for all the poor interracial children that exist while you telling them they got no business existing. You're looking at millions of children saying you ain't got no business being born. You've got no business existing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, like, what do you mean loyalty? Loyalty to what? Like, if that's your seed, you should have loyalty to your children. You should have loyalty to your bloodline, not some strangers, right? So, like, it's insulting to hear those kind of things only because, like, because now you're talking about how you're raising your children. Now you're talking about who you should raise your children with. And those, no matter what ethnicity you are very personal and private matters, right?
Definitely.
And because they're so personal and so private, it's always sensationalism. That's why people have the nerve to go on, and like my husband was saying, like, you know what you're saying. You know you're going to make just as many people mad as you are nodding their heads. And you know why they're nodding their heads and why they're getting mad. And at this time and in this climate and in this country, we don't need that. If you claim to be a member of a community, then you need to be preaching overcoming and coming together because, like, you know, globalization is here. So we got to stop being petty in our tiny part of the world. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Right. Yeah.
Well, it was definitely awesome having you guys on. I don't want to take up any more of your Friday night. But is there anything else?
Yeah, it's his birthday eve. We gotta kick it.
Oh, that's right. Big shout out, happy birthday to Sane.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sane actually is part of a radio show in Chicago. Sane, do you want to let us know what the name of the show is, where we can find it?
Sure, awesome. So I am one of 4 hosts of a radio show called Hip Hop 101. I was part of a collective radio group called Q4. So that's like letter QUE and then the number 4. They host a whole variety of different radio shows. There'll be an independent radio station that's actually become one of the fastest independent radio stations that are being grown in Chicago right now. So our show is pretty much trying to give listeners who are fans of the hip-hop culture like the basic 101 on what to look for. So we have, you know, guests from all 4 elements that come on that have lots of insight that we feel in order to bestow on people. So we'll have like graph writers one show, we'll have MCs another show, DJs come to spin set to talk about what it's like being a DJ. You know, we have, you know, MCs, we're all MCs, everyone who's a host is an MC as well. But we also have, you know, different, you know, types of people. We've had people that own labels before come on to talk about what a label is like, owning that, independent business owners. You know, the fans that are hardcore that actually purchase merchandise at shows all the time. Asking them, like, what do they look for in an act and stuff like that. So to give people, like, a different perspective of how to look at stuff. We do it every 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Saturday of the month. It goes from, like, 9:30 to about midnight Central Time, so that's Chicago time. So in New York, that's an hour ahead, so that would be 10:30 to midnight. www.QUE4.org. Again, QUE and then the number 4 right after no spaces .org on the internet. We're actually going to have we have our next show coming up tomorrow night with the homie Dream Tech, who is part of this label that I'm on 7 Oddities Records. He just dropped a new project, which is going to be dope. And this guy MZM from Germany, who won a beat battle out here when he was out here the last time, so they're going to be on to talk. But yeah, man, we talk about everything, and we're willing to communicate with anybody who wants to listen. And it's dope. I don't know, it's a fun show. It's dope. I like it.
Awesome. And you guys are on Facebook too, right?
Yeah, the Hip Hop 101 show on Facebook, or you can find do some searches on us. We're on archives.com, or go to the website q4.org. It has all the different radio shows that are on the station. You'll
Cool.
find ours on there.
We're gonna put your stuff up on the site too when we post the episode. So, Sane, since you're the music guy, we started something new on the show, and every week we do a song of the day that correlates with the show. In reference to this episode, what would you pick for the song of the day?
Huh.
I know I put you guys on the spot.
I mean, just kind of about how we identify with things, and how things, how it's about looking at different perspectives, and talk about how people don't do that. I would say How Many Times by Zion I.
All right. I'm going to look it up. I know who Zion I is, but I've never heard that song. But that's definitely...
It's one of my top 10 singles ever. I don't know. I love that song.
Awesome. And since you guys fell in love over hip-hop, the cutest hip-hop love story ever, damn it, I am going to definitely put that one on the list. All right.
All right, for sure.
Erica, Stain, thank you so much for coming on the show. You guys were awesome.
No, thank you. Well, I can't wait till we try to figure things out.
Yeah, we're definitely going to collab with Hip Hop 101 for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else,
thank you guys
Teeny?
for listening to us talk shit. It was great.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thank you, guys.
All right, bye.
All right. Happy early birthday.
All right. So that was an awesome show. So please, for the audience out there, what do you feel about interracial relationships and the Black experience? Do you feel that your, I guess, white or non-Black counterpart can correlate with your struggle, or do you feel just love is love? Why do I need to be the same race or ethnicity of the person? I don't get it. So please, what do you think about what Dr. Umar said? Do you feel offended?
I'm offended.
or are you all right with it? Because I know there was a couple of quotes that I saw from the comments, and one person was like, personally, I don't care who other people date, but I can never date outside my race. I love Black men. I was raised by Black men. I respect them and their struggles. I just want to be with a man who I can identify with in every way. So there are some people who strongly agree with what Dr. Umar has said. So are you on the fence, or are you agreed, or you go against? Please write to us at bellovebeyond@gmail.com. Or you can go to our website, www.bellovebeyond.com, and you'll see the rest of the quotes, and also I'll have the video that we played at the top of the episode. You can either give us a call or text us at 201-862-8-BED. That is 201-862-8233. You can also go to our Facebook. That's facebook.com/bedlovebeyond, and talk about this subject with all the other fans of the show. And you can follow us at bedlovebeyond on Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. All right. And that is the end of the show. I'm Martini.
I'm still Jen.
All right, guys. We